world championship match. They played a lot of world-class tournaments. They are both grandmasters, very similar in ratings. Yifan was higher, better player at her peak. That's clear because she was like 2680 or something like that, and she could be a 2700 player easily, I think.
Very easily. Very,
But
very
she
easily.
quit before that.
Yes, I mean, she's a very smart person. She got the Rhodes Scholarship. She studied in Oxford. Now she's a professor. And it's very fascinating, you know, how she can combine her professional career with playing chess as well. I mean, it's difficult. You have to fit chess around the semesters. And in the meantime, we see Zhu Wenjun, well, she's getting her c5, knight to c6, very stable setup. But we saw something very similar in Ho Yifan's games against Katerina Lagno in the semis.
Yeah, Katarina was very much a Rai Lopez player. We've seen many of these kind of games. While, yeah, White is playing for d4, but also she's ready to play knight to g3. Of course, these are very classical plans. Also a4 sometimes in the air. And sometimes black goes d5, but it's kind of risky in many of the occasions. More preparation is needed for black for that.
Well,
h6.
still
Because
within the
whenever,
bounds of theory.
yeah, but whenever white is ready to play d4, white can end up being tempo down compared to other openings. Did she play d4?
She did play d4, Judith. It was the main move.
I thought I
It's
played
been played
d4.
many times. And this is the whole idea. Capture back, everything gets trade off. White has a target on d6, but black is very active with the pieces. Knight takes d4
Yeah.
is what I'm expecting.
Are you ever playing Ryan Lopez, or you stick to your character?
Well, the problem is that I was encouraged to play the Archangel Lopez, which I did not appreciate is the sharpest Lopez that is around. And I was once completely wiped off the board by Natasha Bojkovic. I mean, it was some beautiful piece of preparation, lovely idea, and I think she sacrificed not one, but two rooks, and I thought, this doesn't happen in my Caro-Kann. So I gave it up.
Yeah. Okay, rook c8. Of course, that's the square for the rook, no question about it. Bishop b3, very typical. Exchanging the white square bishop. I always like these kind of positions to play it with white, even though it's not so easy to get advantage, and sometimes you have to be happy with something very small. But somehow I always felt very safe with white. Queen d7. Queen d7. Usually it's the place for the knight. But for the moment it was not possible to play because of the d6 pawn was hanging.
Well, I was just checking the opening databases whilst we were talking, and Queen d7 is a new move, hasn't really been played according to my database. But d5 and a5 were the main tries for black. And d5
I'm sorry, but
certainly, if you can get it to work.
But after Queen d7, was Bishop h6 a possibility?
Then, yes, it was very much a possibility.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't ask question. Rook d1, logical.
Sometimes it happens, right? You know, you trust your opponent. You know, Queen to d7 came very quickly. They were still within the realms of theory. So, okay, rook to d1. And now the question is, what next for black?
But you know, chess is very interesting for me from many different angles. But for example, in chess, it so often happens that you don't have a threat, but when your opponent is making a move, suddenly there are new opportunities arise. So queen d7 leaves the knight on f6 unprotected, right? So this is why bishop h6 is a new idea. So you have to be so much alert in chess. You always have to look for the opportunities in every move. Like queen e6, it means that the a7 square is not protected. Okay, big deal now, right? But there always, whatever happens, that there are new gates opens up. So that's why it's very difficult many times to play chess, because you have your own plan, but you have to adjust yourself to your opponent's plan, and also you have to, okay, you have to respect your opponent, but not to trust your opponent completely, because they also make mistakes. Like if Magnus Carlsen made a mistake, a really bad move, obviously I was not saying that it's a really bad move. You say, well, the world champion, probably he has something in mind. Let's figure out what is that. Because we have such a respect, right, for a great grandmaster, world champion, that obviously the first reaction is not that they blundered, but probably there is something deeper what I don't understand.
Totally agree with you there. And Judith, I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that Wenjun is being sneaky. She just overprotected d6. Next move, if her Yifan isn't careful, is to go g5. You know, because it might be tempted to go queen to b6 and go, hey, you left some queenside pawns. But g5, yeah.
What a tricky lady. So the rook has to move away, but where?
But then
the
e4 might even still be coming.
But the rook is defending both of these pawns, so wherever it goes, the other one can be hanging. So what? Maybe knight f5, but that e4 is hanging. Oops!
You didn't see it. G5, and things are suddenly gonna come live for Zhu Wenjun as she.
I think she sees it. She sees it. Just double checking.
G5 on the board. Such a sneaky move there, Judith, because it just looked like it was defending d6. Nothing to it.
Very innocent. My pawn is hanging rook d8. And you felt it. You felt it that there is something sneaky thing going on here.
Yeah, I saw g5 because I was trying to get g5 to work on the previous move because, you know, hey, I want to win material. But e5, okay, well, Yifan is ultimately lost in this position. She's going to lose material, so you might as well roll the dice and see how far. Here you go. e5 is a nice try to the position.
Well, she had to play something, right? But it's very difficult to say what kind of... Well, it's a rook.
It is a rook.
Queen d7.
Yeah. But she gets a few checks. No, not even
really
a check.
There?
No checks.
There are the checks.
I was saying there was no... Okay, there's the black has a check. Queen e6, and you cover g4, and no way to make progress.
Well, queen e5 to start with, but then rook g3 check and queen g4. But then still queen g5. Queen f3, queen c1. But that's a tricky move. Queen e5, rook g3, counter check.
It is very, very tricky. Can you go rook e4? That's what I was thinking. Just because on account of your queen to g4. Rook e4.
Yeah.
And then...
Rook e4 is maybe the best. But it's confusing, and Zhu Wenjun is spending her time.
Rook g3 anyhow. So queen e5 is going to be met by queen to g4, and this bishop on f8 is locked out of the game. So I would say with 20 seconds for Yifan, 22 2 seconds for Zhu and Jun. There is a margin for error in this particular position. But rook c8, beautiful move. Rook c1 is the threat, followed by black giving checkmate.
It's a good calm move. Rook c8, rook c1. Go for it. Show me how do you want to get out of this threat. Very cold-blooded.
7 maybe.
Okay, so probably queen e5. Queen a7, look at that.
But you can still throw in rook c1, and now we have all manner of threats on the board.
Oh, look at that.
And this is nice.
Knight d5. Goes.
E5 check.
Okay, rook h1 and queen e1. Game over. Checkmate.